Hey, you guys, welcome back to the So Lux Life podcast. I'm so excited that you're here, and just thank you to everybody that tunes in and streams live with us. Definitely bring your questions. We have a very important guest tonight. His name is Brandon Maye. Super excited. He's a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and I can't wait for you guys to hear his story. So I'm going to give you guys some time to log on, and we will be right back.
Welcome to the So Lux Life podcast, where our goal is to enhance the mental, physical, and spiritual luxuries in life. Make your life luxurious through knowledge, coaching, training, and technique. Visit us online at SoLuxLife.com. Here's your host, Crispin J. Watson.
So we're back. That was our little intro. Hope you guys liked it. So Brandon, how are you?
I'm great, Crispin. Thank you for having me. That was actually really, really dope. Thank you so much. That was a nice intro.
Thank you. I'm so excited that you're here. I know you're super, super busy. I see you killing the real estate game on Facebook. So just first and foremost, tell us a little bit about you, kind of where you grew up. What's your story? How did you get into real estate?
So my story, I'm actually going to give it to you in like a small nutshell type of deal. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I grew up in a smaller community, Pritchard, Alabama, inside of Mobile. Stayed in a 2-bedroom home with 15 people, and most of the people in my family are high school dropouts. So I always had this vision that one day if I can graduate high school, then my sisters, they have to at least graduate high school. My dad was killed when I was younger. I was about 15 years old. My dad got killed. Well, no, my stepdad stepped in my life when I was 15. My dad got killed when I was 2 years old. My stepdad raised me, my mom raised me, and my grandma. So they taught us how to be locked in, how to be disciplined. And despite anything that was going on around us, me and my sister, we had the mindset that one day we'll get an opportunity to just be great in life. And every day we just showed up with that same type of mindset. And here I am today. Make a long story short, that was the beginning. And now I'm a real estate investor, did over millions and millions of dollars last year investing. And that was my first full year in real estate. So I'm just super excited to see what God is going to take me. I'm just trying to keep putting everything together. So pieces to the puzzle.
Yes, so encouraging. So it was 15 of you guys growing up in one home. Were these all your siblings, or kind of walk us through that?
So my grandma, for some reason, she would just open her doors for anybody at any time. So we had this small little 2-bedroom home. And on any given night, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, and anybody else would be there with us. And we used to make these things called pallets, where you just basically roll out the sheet of stuff on the ground. And that's what we were doing. And so I got 3 sisters. One graduated from University of Alabama now, one from Auburn, and one from South Alabama. So it's them, and like I said, any given night, my uncles and cousins and everybody else. So we was primarily 15 at all times.
So y'all were deep.
We was deep.
Yes, but I just love family. Like, I'm so family oriented. Like, every year our family does like a family reunion, which we haven't been able to do in years just because of COVID. So are you like really tight with your family because of that, because you saw that dynamic growing up?
Yeah, definitely. Those moments really shaped and molded us and gave us this family mindset. As we get a little bit deeper in conversation and we talk about where I am right now and some of the things I've done in life, you'll see how that moment of growing up with family, how it actually shaped where I am right now. There was some key decisions that I made later on in my career of life that put me in this position. That was family moves that I made. Some people will look at it like a crazy situation, but it got me to this point. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. But yeah, definitely been close knitted with my family. Taught me teamwork, taught me discipline, taught me a whole lot of different things that I have the advantage now against other people because of those days with the pallets on the floor, you know?
Right. Like the days you never forget. So kind of what led you to your first real estate deals? Because you used to play football Kind of tell us about that. Like you skipped all over that.
Yeah, I'm telling you now, this thing, it goes deep. It goes deep. So,
we want the deep. We want deep.
All right. So I'm trying to take my time with it. So that's me growing up. I grew up in that environment, a lot of killing, gun violence, drugs, and everything else moving around. Actually, my disadvantages, what people would call my disadvantages, became my advantages. Being able to see my cousins move dope around and seeing certain things happen, it taught me that hunger. It taught me that grind. Seeing people wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I know some people are like, man, that is strange. But really, I was able to take that and mold that into something positive. Seeing them stay up on the corner from 5 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the evening time. Now I'm able to go into these real estate deals, and I'm able to, continue to send offers over and over and over, or negotiate great deals because of those things that I've seen. So anything that I've been through in life, I'm really grateful and thankful for it. So I got to 15 years old, and my mom, she moved me over to a different environment, moved me and my sisters. I enrolled in high school, and it was just some challenges that I had to go through. I wasn't a starter on the football team my freshman year. I wasn't really popular or whatever you would say. I wasn't the top guy my freshman, sophomore year. My junior year, I even wasn't. But my senior year, I became a starter on the football team. And that really started shaping things for me. I ended up signing a full scholarship to play for Clemson University. And everybody that's watching,
nice.
Yeah, Clemson if you watch this video. And I got there. I was a 2-star recruit, which means on a ranking from 1 to 5, I was on the lower half of it. So I was like the underdog kid, the guy that the last one that signed, that we just gonna throw him in and just put him on the signing class. So I was always a diamond in the rough. I was always a person that had to defeat the odds. And luckily, I worked my butt off. I got to Clemson. I ended up becoming a starter as a freshman. Ooh. And all those guys, those 4 stars and those 5 stars, I beat them out. And I became a starter as a freshman, became a freshman All-American, had an outstanding career at Clemson. I got to my junior year. In my junior year, this is where it all changed for me. My junior year, I had a decision to make. Do I stay and finish, I guess, my master's degree because I graduated in 3 years, or do I enter the NFL draft, which is guaranteed millions and millions of dollars? And so I think we talked about it a couple of seconds ago, being that close-knitted family. I decided that I was going to stay for my senior year, and I was going to finish off and get my degree because my grandma had congestive heart failure, and I didn't know if my grandma was about to pass away. It was just like blue for me. And I made a decision. I made a decision to stay for my senior year, but I transferred closer to home, and I ended up at Mississippi State. So I played my senior year at Mississippi State, got hurt in camp, and played the whole year, just hurt, just beat up, just went from being this guy that was signing millions and millions of dollars to just being at the lowest point of my life. I got depressed. I just had to find a way to finish that year off. So with my master's degree in hand, I finished off at Mississippi State. And then the night of the NFL draft came, and I ended up going undrafted. And I did the craziest thing. I want to speak to somebody tonight because I know, if you don't mind, because I know somebody watching. Watching this video, like you ready to give up on life. You ready to throw in the towels. It feel like that every time you write something on your goal board, it doesn't become a reality. Or you feel like you're against the 8-ball all every day. Like you can't get the resources and stuff you need to kind of take off in your business. Can't get the resources you need to take off in life. Or you're a single parent, you're working extremely hard. Like just that person that's going against the odds right now, going against the grain. Guys, I want to tell you, don't stop, don't give up, don't give in. And this is the reason why. What I'm about to tell you guys is you're about to be able to feel where I'm coming from. So it's the night of the draft. It's my mom there. I got my grandma there. Like, this is supposed to be the moment. I've played all these snaps on ESPN. I've been a top-rated guy for the NFL. So despite what was going on with me at Mississippi State, despite the injury, all those things, I figured, like, the NFL is certainly not going to pass on me because I've done this much work to get to this point. And so it was the last pick of the draft, and my name wasn't called. And I remember looking around the room, and I looked at my grandma, I looked at my mom, my sister, And I'm looking at the disappointment on their face. Like they're excited because I made it through college. I got my master's degree. But at the same time, I told my mom growing up in this 2-bedroom home that when I make it to the NFL, Mom, you'll never want for nothing. So I was driven. I had a purpose while I was doing what I was doing. Every day I was showing up. My mom would never want for nothing. And now we're here at this moment and it's over. My name wasn't called. So I remember going outside and I looked at my stepdad who stepped in my life when I was 3 years old after my dad had been murdered by his mom boyfriend. He stepped in my life, and I remember looking at this guy, and I'm telling him, man, I hate you. How did you put me in this to, how you put me in football to allow this to break my heart, knowing that this man took me and put me in football because it was to keep me away from the drugs, to keep me away from the gun violence and all this stuff. I'm telling this guy, I hate you because I'm disappointed. It's the night of the draft. My name wasn't called. So I get in the same car that my mom had purchased for me. She scrapped up money to make happen when I was at Clemson. And I drove by my elementary school. I remember the days I was bullied, kind of like flashing back. Drove by my middle school, drove by my high school where the teachers told me, you'll never be nothing. You'll be a high school dropout. You'll sell dope and you'll eventually get killed. And I just kept driving. It's a lonely night. It's dark. My phone is blowing up. My mom calling, the pastor calling, like, man, what's going on? Like, what's about to happen? Like, everybody's calling me at this point. And in the far, I saw this bridge. They was doing construction. And I saw it was open. And I said to myself, wouldn't it be better? Because I told my mom this was going to happen. Wouldn't it be better if I just drive this car off the bridge and just end it? So I come up on the bridge. I come up on the bridge and the waves are crashing and I'm just thinking back and I'm beating the steering wheel and I'm crying. And kind of like somebody right now that's watching this video, I made up my mind that I was going to give up, that I was going to commit suicide this night. And I pressed the gas pedal. And I promise you, I'm a spiritual guy. I'm always going to be spirit-led. And guys, my car cut off.
No way.
Like it's a brand new car. And I began to hear the voice of God say, look, it's more that I require of you. The football was only a platform. The football was only an opportunity to do what I call you to do. And I drove back home just crying, just beat, just battered, just where do I go now, God? And the next day, I get a call from the NFL, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They want to bring me in to do a physical and see if I can perform. I remember getting in there and the doctors and everything standing around, and they gave me the bad news that my career was over, that I had to have a reconstructive surgery on my Achilles. Came back home to Mobile, had a 15-hour surgery to reconstruct my Achilles. Got the calf muscle, brought it down to my Achilles so my toes can flex, pull some of my hamstring down, all this crazy stuff. I took my body through the most excruciating pain that I could probably endure. And after that, I got back home and God just began to start speaking. Look, this was only a platform. Don't give up. Don't give in. That just kept going through my mind. And during that time, my grandma, she told me, she said, look, you in pain. You might as well get something from it. Like you already in pain. You already went through all the hurt. You already went through all the disappointment. You might as well get something from it. And every night I would grab my tablet, and with my crutches and my big old cast on my leg, I would just take a pen and I would write. And I couldn't really understand what was going on. I would write chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and I just kept writing. I was just letting my pain go. I remember writing these words, and I'm crying the whole time I'm writing them. I'm gonna share a picture with you too of me actually writing the book, because I was like, somebody's gonna see this one day. I'm taking a picture. And, before you know it, about 30, 45 days, your boy had wrote a book, and I was a published author. And after that, things just started happening. I started one company, I failed a little bit, started another company, failed a little bit more, and then I started winning, right? And things just started taking off. And this past year, we did over $2 million in real estate transactions, and I was the real estate investor. So that's a testimony, guys, to show you that when you don't give up and you don't give in, which I tried to, when you make it on the other side of the pain and stuff that you endure, that it's going to be a blessing. So I'm a real estate investor. We got Airbnb properties. There's different things that I'm doing, luncheon companies, and over 20 employees. So all this started with me just finding a way to pick myself up. So guys, I want you to be encouraged. I know I kind of ran with this. You told me to go. I just kind of
run with it. Yes, that's what we want. We want the real, we want the deep, we want the authentic. And that's such a testimony because there's so many people that battle depression and they're going through things that they will never talk about. But, you know, if you don't talk about it, it'll eventually beat you up inside. And I've been there. Like I went through a divorce and I was like at my lowest. I was super depressed. I had to go to therapy, even had thoughts of suicide throughout that, but nothing but God. And kind of like you, I got my laptop out. I started writing and I wrote a book. I haven't published it yet, but I wrote a book, and this was like 3 years ago whenever I was going through my divorce, but it just hasn't been published because I wanted to make sure it was written out of a place to where I could help people. It's about turning your pain into purpose, just letting the things that you go through use it for your advantage. But I just have to make sure that it's not written out of a place of bitterness because I know I was kind of going through it then. So I'm kind of in the process where I'm just kind of going back and just reading it with a clear mind from like a standpoint of healing, just to make sure that this book can really help someone else. So that's amazing. I feel like God gives us words and he wants us to be purposeful and actually use them.
I need you to get that book done. I need you to get that book out because it's somebody that can relate to it, and the timing is now.
You're right.
Think back on a story I was reading about the singer Adele. And Adele, she was struggling. She was getting ready to do one of the albums that went like double platinum. It was crazy. I think it was the last album that she did. And they were saying Adele would go to the studio and she would write a little bit, but she would get writer's block because she was going through something with her husband. And then she would do it again and she could never get it. And eventually he told her that he had somebody else pregnant. They ended up getting a divorce. And then Adele was crying. She was in the corner. She was like, take me to the studio. They was like, she went crazy for like 2 weeks straight because of all the bitterness and pain. Somebody was waiting to hear that. Somebody was waiting to hear that part of it. So I say that to say that I know you said that was during a bitter time, but somebody was waiting to hear at that moment. They want that moment, right? Somebody that one. Yeah, you're
absolutely right. This lady, this older lady that would be in the kids center in the gym. So I would take my son in there and talk to her. And one day she was just like, it's just something about you. Like God wants you to do something that you've been holding on to. I was like, oh, speak to me, Jesus. Because I felt like she was talking about the book. And then I told her and she was like, yes, release it. And I haven't done it. I've been disobedient, but I'm giving y'all my word. My word is my bond that I'm going to release the book this year. So be on the lookout.
No doubt.
Be on the lookout for that. Because I truly believe you go through things like God will kind of slow you down. And he won't give you certain things because you're not ready for them at that time. So if you felt like you're supposed to be, you know, an NFL draft and this and that, and it didn't work out, just wait your time. As he said, like he's a living testimony. Like, so you didn't get millions from the NFL, but you're making millions doing real estate. So why real estate? Kind of tell me like what got you into actually doing real estate?
So one of my favorite shows coming through college football and being at Clemson was called Flipping with Vegas, something like that. Flipping Vegas, that's what it was called. Flipping Vegas came on HGTV, husband and a wife duo. And I used to just watch it every time I come from practice. I just watch it. And I love to see something that's beat up, tore up, and like really everybody haven't given it a shot at all, just kind of wipe it away. And I like to see it turn around. So I became fascinated with the turnaround process. And I was never really driven by the money side of it, right? A lot of people make the mistake of being driven by money, but you have to have something a little bit deeper that continues to keep you going, because whatever you get the money, then I've seen a lot of people get the money, then blow their brains out. So I've never really been driven by the money, but actually the process and seeing something getting turned around. So Flipping with Vegas, or Flipping Vegas, that was one of the top shows on HGTV at the time. So I just wanted to do what they was doing. I wanted to turn some stuff around, and I became fascinated with that process.
Yeah, so kind of walk us through your first flip. How was that process for you?
So my first flip, I lost $35,000. All right. So I want to make sure people know it's a get rich thing overnight. It's a process too. I tried to do some type of method that I came up in my brain that I can buy a property that was undervalued and I can add value to it and I can rent it out for a little bit. And then after I rent it out, I can turn around and sell it. Well, what they didn't tell me is that it's a process of somebody squat on your property to get them out of there. So old girl, she knew the system. She had been doing this over and over. I renovated the house. I've gotten the house up to speed. Now I'm going to rent it out to her. Well, she stopped making her payments. So I reach out to her and I'm like, God, what's going on? What's the deal with the payments? Like, I'll work with you. Just talk to me. She went MIA. Well, she has set it up some type of way and squatted on the property for months. So we spent money getting her out. We spent money on the rehab. And also we bought the property with too much. It was like more on the retail side and not on the wholesale side. So I bought it at a retail price. And there wasn't much equity for us to have all this crazy stuff going on without any income coming from it. So I ended up losing about $35,000 on my first rehab, but it looked good on HGTV though.
So it was on TV.
Yeah, they didn't tell me that part.
Yeah, it always looks so fun and easy. Like, we'll just buy this property, we'll knock this wall out, boom, we're done. You made $80,000. But yeah, so you had to go through an eviction process, I'm guessing, to get her out.
The whole process. So, like I said, you got the rehab money, you got a house that's worth $40,000, and we bought it for $40,000 or maybe $45,000. And then we put all that rehab money in. By the time she squatted on it, she knew how to file the paperwork so that she continued to squat over and over and over. So, I mean, you add those months up, we lost about 35. And we was on a hard money loan, guys. So we was paying 12% interest rate. It got bad. It got bad fast.
So I'm glad that didn't discourage you from doing another deal. So tell us about like your first successful deal. Like that was that was a hard one. Where's one that was?
You wanted the first one. So my first successful deal. So last year we flipped 30 houses, and that was fast paced. That was in and out. We had to keep it moving, and I also did a couple wholesale deals. So I can't even remember my first successful deal. I'm sorry. But we have done
just so many.
We have done because all the street names kind of like running together now. You got 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's just all over the place in my brain. But I know on the first deal, I know we did about 30,000, 35,000 on the profit side. It was a real smooth transition from the beginning of construction to the end. And I think the biggest thing for us and why I was able to make money is because I got in and got out. And I didn't give that one GC, which is general contractor, I didn't give them all the work. I brought in different subs. So I had an AC guy, I had a roofing guy, I had a painter guy. And that's the same type of philosophy that I have today, is being able to use multiple subs because anything can happen. Somebody can catch coronavirus, somebody can run away with the money, somebody can, it's just so much can happen when you give one person the work. Now, I GC every project, and I got a project manager. And so we come up with our own game plans, and we are really, really strict. So we don't touch the flips unless we make at least 25,000 profit in this market, the Mobile, Alabama market. So it's just trying to piece it all together. But we made about 30,000 on it. Any like specific questions you got for that?
Yeah. So kind of what was the process? How did you find the property? Was it off market or kind of just walk us through the
So now the city is calling me off the market Maye because I only buy off the market deals. I buy situations. I figured out that in order for me to have a big enough spread to be able to take on city inspectors getting in and then making my rehabs lengthy and all this other stuff, all the unknown, unforeseen things coming in, then you gotta be able to buy these properties at such a discounted rate that you will have enough equity in it to withstand anything that's going on against it. So every deal I do now is pretty much off of the market. When I say off the market, that means a situation. I like to buy situations. Somebody got a divorce, somebody passed away, somebody inherited the property, but they stay in New York and their mom left them a property in Mobile. They don't want anything to do with the property tax. They want to just kind of let it go. They don't want anything to do with the rehab. And so I'm able to go in, for example, say that house, the same house I'm talking about, say it's worth $100,000. Well, mom paid off that house. It's already paid for. So the person in New York, they may say, hey, I'm fine with taking $40,000 for it. It's paid off. But for me, if I buy that $40,000, I put $10,000 in, I sell it for $100,000, you got a big enough spread there. So being able to buy situations, every city got those posters all around the city at the traffic light saying "We buy homes."
We buy houses, right?
We buy homes. So I'm one of them guys. I produce my own leads, and I have some relationships with some wholesalers that go out and market for these deals, and I end up buying those deals from them because they can also give them to me at a good enough rate. So buying homes with a big enough spread so that you can renovate it, put it back on the market quickly, and make some money from it. That's really good. Like we got one right now that we bought for $100,000 and it's worth $350,000. So you can do you can do the math on that. We're gonna make $650,000. Yeah. So that's what.
So how much are you putting in the rehab on that one?
On that one, about $100,000, $120,000.
Yeah, but you're still making like
$100,000, and I'm for sale by owner. So I sell that for sale by owner.
You don't want to list it. You want to let me list it.
You won't have the agent in on this.
Come on.
Sometimes we have agents on them. Sometimes we have agents on them.
Hey, well, keep me in the loop whenever you decide to put an agent on. Sure. But someone in the comments asked, what markets are you in?
So I'm in Mobile, Atlanta, Georgia. Well, I'm in Atlanta when it comes to Airbnbs, short-term rentals, and Houston, Texas. So because I've done so well with the flipping, I'm able to allocate the money out, meaning start the 401k, push the money around, right? So we can save on tax. But not only that, I'm able to expand my passive income. I don't like long-term rentals. I sold them. I had like 10 of them. I let go of them because I don't have time to pacify people and make people to stay in something that you supposed, come on, this is a roof over your head. You're supposed to be paying for it. So I don't have time to chase people around. So we do more of the short-term Airbnb style. I like to use that as my passive income. So now if I'm flipping houses, I can use that money to make down payments on a $500,000 house in Destin, Florida, something like that we're making $400, $500 a day on. So the flipping money now to advance the short-term rental. That's what I'm doing now.
Nice. I love it. So you say we, so you work with a team. Is it you and multiple people or?
So I'm the sole owner of the company, but I've developed relationships now with other people that has a ton of money and it's just sitting, and I'm giving them a return on their investment. So instead of the stock market, they're getting real estate opportunities. And I started a capital investment group. So I now own y'all the first one to hear this. I now launched my own bank. So I have my own bank now. I have my own bank using other people's money in order to invest in out of real estate. So I'm a lender. So I can do hard money deals and private money deals and also on short-term rentals.
Yeah. They said nice. I know that is nice. That's so encouraging. See, we get the scoop. We get the first of the first here on the podcast.
Y'all the first of the first. Nobody never heard that. Matter of fact, Chris, don't put that out.
Okay, let me know when we can release this.
No, I'm just playing. It's cool. But yeah, I figured it'd be cool coming from the hood, standing at 2-bedroom house, to now being able to reach out and have all these resources and being able to create a brand and name for yourself that now when I say Bob, but I'm not being racist or anything like that. I say Bob because that's my guy, right? So he told his other friend, and Bob friend got friends. So now if you take care of them and take care of their money, then they're going to continue to trust you to give them a return on their money. And that can be black, white, Puerto Rican, Chinese. It doesn't matter. Money is money. So being able to build those resources coming from the hood, and these people respect you with tattoos and dreadlocks, that's cool. That's the new cool. So I started a capital investment group, and I launched off, and we created a small private bank.
Are you able to tell us what the name of it is?
Legacy.
Come on.
It's Legacy.
Legacy Bank.
Yeah, Legacy Bank. Yep. It's simple. Legacy Bank, the capital investment group is Legacy Capital Investments.
Wow. So if you have like a future investor, they're looking to get into investing and don't really want to go hard money, would you say it's more like hard money, or are you guys kind of easier to work with in a sense when it comes to investing?
I guess the advantage is I actually, and I don't know why this hat keep tilting. We're going to make it right now. It's like the camera reverse. Yeah, laugh a little bit about that. But I guess you can say, depending on the situation. So we have hard money opportunities. We are working on more long-term opportunities for people. And the advantage is I actually do this business. So my people trust me to be able to evaluate the deals, understanding what's the ARV, knowing how to run comps, knowing how to go into the deal and see the rehab side of it. That's our advantage as a company, right? So we have taken that and we're now able to do commercial deals, buy apartment complexes, do RV parks, things on a bigger scale. It's a lot of levels to this, Crispin. I can't go
I see. Yes, we need all the levels. We're gonna have to bring you back like a few more times so we can, dive deeper into it. Yeah. So how does your family feel about all this? Are they super excited? Are they super happy for you?
Yeah, my number one thing is, what is a man to gain the world and lose his soul?
Amen.
What is a man to gain the world and lose his family? So it's very important for me to keep my balance. Like I said to you before we even got on this call, I kind of limit the amount of action and calls that I do. We had HGTV reach out because they liked the juicy story, the guy that was, the football player that had the injury and all that stuff and now flipping houses. So I turned that down. So I turned down HGTV because I'm big on timing. I'm big on being able to communicate well with my family and being able to go places and do things. And I didn't come this far to not have the freedom and the passive income that it needs to kind of buy my life back. I've started mobile auto detailing company. For mobile auto detailing company, I did the pressure washing company. And then I used that to get into the real estate. And then now from the real estate, I'm using the real estate to launch off the short-term rentals, the Airbnbs, the passive income that'll give me more and more time. So when you got $7,000 coming in a month, you kind of can breathe a little bit different. And you get $20,000 coming in a month, you kind of can breathe a little
different. Real good.
Like you can go to Utah with the family. You can go to Gatlinburg. We was in Gatlinburg in December, just hanging out with my mom, my sisters, and showing them like, guys, look, didn't go NFL, but we went NFL in life. So my job and my assignment, my job and my assignment is to continue to advance myself. Never get too big, never get too small. To continue to advance yourself and continue to be able to come back to the city. We got a nonprofit organization here in the city where we do stuff for the kids, and we're gonna give them the game. It may not be looked at or looked upon by the politicians as we happy that he's here teaching them this, but I'm here for this. This is what God called me to do. So I teach the kids in the hood. I teach them how to read bank statements, how to open a bank account, how to launch this business, how to do trades. That's what it's about. Being able to pay it forward. Everything else, the grit and the grind, that's me. That's personal. That's what I do every day so I can come back to my city and do what I'm called to do.
Right. I think that's what it's about. I don't feel like God blesses us and takes us to different levels for us to be stingy with it and not want to share what we learned along the way or help the next person out. Each one teach one, as they say. But that's great. I mean, that you're actually going back to your community, teaching financial literacy, because that's where it all begins. And that's missing a lot in the Black communities. So kind of where do you think the gap is? Like, what do you think would help fill this gap that we experience in the Black community when it comes to like financial literacy or getting into real estate investing or crypto, whatever that gap may be?
So I think the gap is from information, knowledge, and resources. Information, knowledge, and resources. It's not that those kids in that area are equipped to be successful, right? Because I'm a kid from that area, right? So we know based on the tests and doing a beta test using just me and it's many more people, I'm just using me for example, that these kids, it's not that they don't have what it takes to be successful, but just having those resources and the information and hope. Hope is huge. Being able to change your mindset and change your environment and see that, oh my God, it's possible. Like now, I went on my visit to Clemson. I wanted to catch a flight because I've never caught a flight. Like my mom, they work hard, but I never caught a flight. So I caught a flight to Clemson because I want to see what it was like. And it changed my mindset. Now I go and deal with people that's been multimillionaires for years, all the mentors and stuff that I got. I deal with those guys and I get a chance to see what it's like to, in their eyes, be successful. And I get to ride in the Rolls Royce and I get to hop on a private plane. All that stuff, it expands your mind and gives you a bigger vision. One thing that I've seen in December, I think December, November last year, it just kind of it took me for a loop. It actually helped me out in what we're looking to do as a nonprofit. I saw a kid at a coffee shop, and he's from a private school. And I know because of his uniform that he was from a private school. He's about 15 years old. He was in front of me. He was paying for his coffee. And first off, where I'm from, like kids coming in with a credit card, 15 years old, paying for coffee. I'm like, what the world? So I started to get intrigued, like, what's up with this? So I asked him when he finished getting his coffee, I say, is that your mom card or is that your dad card? He said, no, that's my card. Your card? You mean to tell me you got a credit card? And so I started thinking about it, dang, like I'm flashing back. Like, what if the kids in my community had a card at 15? Would they be following the pattern of being Section 8? Or would they have a different type of mindset on what success looked like? Or would they do like mom did and mom did and just keep following the same pattern thinking that's cool? But the politicians say, oh, we're going to stop the violence. And they do that every year when it's time to get the votes, right? But where are those same politicians when it's time to teach these kids how to write a check or how to go and pull your credit, how to work with the bank to get your credit score right? And so in that moment, I said to myself, look, if I don't do nothing else, I have to show these kids how to do these things so that they can have a chance. It's not that the gap is this big. It's actually this big, but they have to see what it looked like. They have to feel what it looked like. They have to be able to read and see and feel some success. Oh, okay. That's what it's like to open the bank account. That's what it's like to balance $100. So we took $5,000 and we brought in some kids with the bank and we letting them balance that to produce their credit score, to get their credit score up. Like I literally went in my bank, $5,000. I need these many kids to have $100 and I need them to balance that so they can see what it feel like. The bank said, okay, if you're going to put up that money, then we'll put up some money too because of our relationship. So now the kid got $200 to balance. If he balanced that 200 right, then we can continue to advance him and grow him and then help him out when it's time to go to college. We can get him a scholarship for the type of stuff because we know he went through our program. So stuff like that. This is stuff that we're doing behind the scenes that we know that can, this gap that people think is like this, is really like this, we can close that gap. So then our babies can have the same credit card and be in the same coffee shop and they look like this. You know what I mean? They look like this. You know, and people are like, oh, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love that you're doing that because you know sometimes they don't see it at home. So it's good that you're actually getting out there and actually exposing them to bank accounts and managing money. Because I was surprised, like I just thought it was normal, but I got into my grown years and I met people that didn't have a bank account, and I was just so shocked. I'm like, hey, how are you getting paid? But it's different. So I mean, but it just, you know, it all kind of boils down to what they saw growing up, just things that they aren't accustomed to.
I had a 450 credit score, and I'm not like on some embarrassed to say it type of stuff. I had a 450 credit score after the injury. After I decided I was going to go into the bank and I was going to pull my credit score. Like it's so much was going through my mind while I was writing the book. I was at the lowest point of my life. What do I have to lose? So I went in, I had a 450 credit score. I learned so much about myself. And I told the bank, I said, hey, you see where I am right now? You about to watch something. You about to see something amazing take place. And then I would show up. Check this out. I would show up for the next 2 months and I would come into the bank and I would get rejected over and over and over because I had to teach myself rejection. Because playing football, you're a top star. Like, you don't really know rejection. You play football for these people. They get paid. They university make money. Then all of a sudden, they feed you to the wolves if you don't go to the NFL. That's why a lot of the athletes, they kill themselves because they don't know how to transition to life after football. So I had to teach myself how to be rejected. So I went in the bank at least 8 times. And they would look at me and say, hey, man, are you crazy? You taking shots at your credit right now. But I had to teach myself to hear no, no, no. And that's how I became a salesperson. That's how I worked for a company in Atlanta, Georgia, and became a top salesman without knowing anything about construction. Before I even started doing real estate, pressure washing, any of these things, I went in their office and just took over because I knew how to hear no, 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 and keep going. Like real estate agents, they struggle with that sometimes. They hear no and they go crying. I'm like, no, don't hear no and go crying. Do like the kid in the third world country. If the third world country kid, he hears no, then he's going to be back the next day. He's going to be back the next day because he feel like it's all on the line. And as an American, we know we got so many escapes. It's like, what if this happened? What if that happened, right? We got so many plan Bs. But when you make up your mind, like, look, it's only this plan and this is the only plan. And if this plan don't work, then I'm going to die with the plan. I'm going down with the plan. That's a mindset thing. You know, that's a mindset thing. I know it's real estate agents watching this. That's a mindset thing. So I want to challenge somebody to double up and triple up your sales and double up and triple up your mindset and see past where you are right now. Have faith in seeing things that are not even there. So if you did 100,000 last year, we need 200,000 this year. How did that happen? What is it that you're doing that you have to like put it all together and say, hey, look, this is how I get there. That has to become your mindset, the way that you think, the way that you operate. Tell me no, okay, that's cool. I'll be back tomorrow. Tell me no tomorrow. That's cool. I'll be back in 2 weeks. And I'm persistent. This is how I am for real.
Yeah, that's amazing. I actually ran across a post today on Instagram where it said like real estate is the business of rejection. So you have to prepare yourself for the no's. Because if you just go up to somebody like, hey, let me sell your house, like, no. It's just like you're not gonna get that first yes like every time. You know, sometimes it happens, but you do kind of have to prepare yourself for those no's. So kind of how did you shift your mindset? So after the NFL didn't work out, I know you said you wrote, but did you do anything outside of writing? Did you seek any type of counseling? Did you start reading a lot? Kind of what shifted your mindset? So
the only counseling I felt like I seek is my counseling with my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. That was the only counseling. So that was the only counseling that I really had. That was the base of this climb. And I wouldn't call it to the top because I'm like on the scale of 1 to 10 in my mind, I'm like on 2, right? So I got so far to go, but I'm not where I used to be at, right? So being able to celebrate those little wins. I've got a lot more in me, but I'm not where I'm only 32, but I'm not where I used to be at. And some things about me is DNA. It's just, that's how I'm built. I was a middle linebacker in college football, playing in front of 100,000 people and getting people lined up and all the interviews. So I had to be really, really mature. And I grew up in an environment where if you make one move or you say one thing incorrect, then you're dead. It doesn't matter your age. And so that was a little bit that was inside of me. But outside of what's inside of me, I think I put myself in uncomfortable situations, right? So I had a master's degree and I could have went anywhere in the country and worked in corporate America. But I said I would take my mom beat up 2000 Yukon with no AC in it and only a couple windows let down. And I would put a trailer onto the back of it and I would detail cars. I wanted to put myself in an uncomfortable situation. So many people that feel like success is this far-fetched thing, when success is really being able to adapt to uncomfortable situations and say that my uncomfortableness, I'm actually comfortable right now. And I guess that's good and a bad thing. Like when I get in that like uncomfortable mode, which is every day for me, because I keep myself there, I'm never too high, never too low. I'm always humble. That my superpowers begin to activate. So being able to know what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses and what activate those strengths and weaknesses, right? And using that to your advantage, like what makes you go? Is it your purpose? My mom, my dad, my sister, and using that every day and doing it over and over and over and becoming consistent doing that is what's going to separate you. It's going to give you some form of a foundation. And then that attitude and that mindset is just you can't teach dog. When you got that dog in you, it's like, I tried.
You can't teach hustle. Like, you really can. My mentor tells me that all the time. Like, you can't teach hustle. Like, I can call you and beat you down, try to make you do it, but if you don't have that drive in you, it's just not in you. So.
Yeah, the most earthly way to teach yourself is to find out what actually drives you, what pushes you, what motivates you, what you have to do every day to keep going, and then doing that consistently, and then now it becomes a habit because you do something over and over and over. This is a habit. So I'm already built like this, where if anything happened, my grandma passed away. So when my grandma passed away, the drive never left, right? So when she passed away, the drive never left. I mean, of course, I cried, I moaned, that's my heart. But my drive never left. As a matter of fact, guys, I got more aggressive because I'm like, oh, okay, grandma on the plate a whole different way now. Like, grandma here on some spiritual type of stuff. Like, I can't make no crazy moves, and I can't afford to lay in the bed all day and cry about this. I gotta go and make some shit because grandma, I gotta satisfy her now. So things like that, man. I'm just driven like that. Like, and if you could do the same thing. It's just knowing how to look at your plate and say, what drives me, put it on there, and continue to find things. Like, you was driven, you went through the divorce, you cried for a little bit, you went through counseling. You was like I'm guessing you got kids. You're like, oh yeah, I got kids, I gotta go. All right, I gotta hit the button. So what are you gonna do? Like, do you die with the dream of NFL, or do you find a way to keep going? That's why I had to ask myself. So that was my attitude.
Yeah, people need to realize, like, life doesn't end when things don't go your way. Because a lot of times God has something so much more for you, so much better, so much more fulfilling. But you just kind of go through those tests. So don't fail them. Just do know that trials will come, like it's in the Bible. Like, it speaks about nothing under the sun like it hasn't already happened. So if people suffered back in the biblical days, what makes you think you're not going to suffer now?
And it has to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah.
It's a part of the process, the growth and development. So
it's life.
If you're watching this, you're no different. Like, how can God be? You may be saying, "Dang, my life look like this. How can God be blessing Brandon? He's speaking on these blessings, but I'm doing the same type of stuff, and it's not happening for me." Well, you may be in a different stage in the process. Yeah. And God, like, look, you on stage 2. You got to get to stage 5, but I got to shape you. I got to mold you, because if I give it to you now, you may self-destruct. You may not be ready.
Yes.
You may put yourself in an uncomfortable situation where you may not be able to bounce back. So I'm going to protect you, because I won't put too much on you that you can't bear. And that goes both ways. That goes with success and negativity. I won't put too much on you that you can't bear. So you have to believe by faith that the process is something that I'm going to marry. Like, I'm going to marry this process. And God, you said you was going to do it for me, that I'm going to believe that's going to happen. And that's anything in life. You got to marry the process.
Yeah, and you have to do the work, because I know sometimes we like to pray like, okay, God, I want this, but I'm not putting in any work. Just waiting for him to let it fall in my lap. But it's so much more fulfilling, I feel like, when you kind of have a journey to get there. Because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And if it was easy, I mean, why would we really have to trust God,
Right.
So everything's just not handed to us. I hope you guys are encouraged and have been encouraged throughout this podcast. Brandon gave us so much information. And let me know if you guys want him to come back on the podcast. As you know, he said he turned down HGTV, but he didn't turn down us. So we're so grateful and so happy that you were here with us. Do you have any other tips or any other words of encouragement for those that are thinking about real estate investing?
Don't be afraid. Do your research. Figure out how to do this. Oh yeah, this is huge. So I thought that you had to have all this money to do real estate deals. And what I learned is that the money is plentiful. meaning that if you understand how to structure deals, how to find deals, then the money will find you. Like, you don't have to have a bag of money. You don't have to have a safe deposit with millions and millions of dollars. But if you can learn how to find, I want to make sure somebody hear me on this, because I did my first deal literally, well, my second deal was literally like $1,000 in my account. So I want y'all to hear this. And we made $30,000 or $40,000 on that deal. And it was my first wholesale deal, because you can do real estate without money. You can structure a deal, find the off the market house, and then you can go back to find a cash buyer in your city and sell the contract to them. And you make, well, agents don't like that, but you feel where I'm coming around. You can make a referral fee where you get a house on the contract and it's worth $150,000, and you can put you $20,000 on there. You can make $50,000. There you go. You made $20,000 without having any money in the deal. And most cash buyers are going to close really fast. I've done this deal over and over and over deal where I made $30,000 in 24 hours because I had the contract. I didn't have the money necessary, but I had the contract. So don't look at this thing and say, man, he's saying something that I can't do. Yeah, you can. You can do real estate. I can go get a homeless guy right now on the street, find him at the red light, and pull him in and teach him the information and knowledge, how to find a deal and structure a deal and learning the ins and out of how to do the deal. And he can go and make money in real estate today, guaranteed. So
do you teach people the process? Do you mentor any? Are you kind of working on a course or anything that may be coming in the future?
So I know y'all get like pop-ups every day on your Facebook, Instagram and stuff. Hey, what's up? I'm such and such. How to make $100,000 in 24 hours. I can show you. And then they try to get you involved with all that stuff. That's cool. That's cool. But my reason for doing like the course is because my phone rings too much and I can't do many like one-on-one mentorships. So I'm going to create the course from step A to the end and just give it, like sell it to whoever need it so they can go through it and see how to flip houses using other people's money. Because I use other people's money. It's called the OPM method. I use other people's money to do my deals. So I'm not risking my money in real estate unless we get into like short-term rentals. I use other people's money, but I understand what type of deals it takes to actually tap into that funding. When you understand that, channel your focus on finding out how to structure deals and what deals the lenders give you money for. And buying houses at 70% of the profit margin or 70% of the ARV is what most lenders like to loan out to you. Meaning that if you found a house is worth $100,000, they'll probably lend you $70,000. So you got to be able to do the purchase and also the rehab in that $70,000 for it to be a profitable deal. Yeah, that's game.
Nice. That is game. Someone in the comments asked, do you mentor? So he has a course coming. As you heard him say, his phone rings off the hook all day, every day. So he doesn't have time for the one-on-one, unfortunately.
But I do the calls, like the free calls. So nice. Hop on the call. Like I just be giving game like once a month. I do a free call and I just break down the structure of a deal. What's the ARV? What's the comps and the rehab costs and all those things, and show them, hey, look, this is a deal that the lender may like. This is a deal that you may be able to wholesale. So I like to act as a wholesaler. I like to act as a flipper and also a short-term rental guy when I evaluate my deals. Because if I look at a deal that's off the market, it's got to fit one of those. It will fit. Maybe I'm going to flip it. Maybe I'm going to wholesale it. Maybe I'm going to turn it to a short-term rental. So being able to do that is very important for me to do calls once a month for free. I just do the call. Just hop on my call. I just do it for free.
Yeah. So when are the calls? Is there a set schedule for them, or how can we find out about your calls?
Yeah. Could I send you a link and then you can give it to?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get you a link.
Yes, please do. Well, you've been so knowledgeable. I've learned a lot. It's been so fun. Do you have any questions or anything else that you want to share with us?
No. If anybody else have any questions, if you want to, I'm an open book. So if they want to ask any last minute questions, if that's fine with you, we can give them a second.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us, what's the name of your book?
My book is Diamond in the Rough.
Diamond in the Rough.
I'm like Nipsey Hussle. I'm self-published. So we got boxes and boxes and boxes up here. Because I forgot to tell you, I travel doing motivational speaking. So I speak at schools, and you probably see it on Instagram. But we'll sell these books to the actual like schools and stuff like that. And they'll be able to give it to the kids.
Nice. So how long have you been doing that? How long have you been speaking?
I've been speaking for probably about 5 years. I was speaking about 30 times a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She said, oh, wow.
Each one teach one, Spirit. Like, how do you do it? How do you find time in the day?
I got gray hair and I'm 32. I just keep going. I kind of feel like sometimes I try to be God's given. Like God's been so good to me. And so every day I try to find a way to like beat his giving, knowing that I can't. So I'm like giving here, giving there, just trying to keep going, just trying to pay him back. He keep waking me up. So I'm just trying to
Won't he do it?
Yeah, I ain't got no time to play. My clock ain't in tomorrow. Like I gotta bring it every day.
Yes, I love it. That goes back to that mindset. So doesn't look like we have any other questions, but you guys can contact him if you can follow him on Instagram, Prolific Maye. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast. So it was great speaking with you, Brandon. Thank you so much.
No, you the truth. I appreciate you. You got a good podcast.
Yes. Thank you.
Sure.